Academic literacy is not always about being able to read and write. It is about having the ability to be able to think critically, communicate ideas clearly, and being able to adapt in an academic environment. For me, developing my academic literacy was a bit challenging because I was born and raised in KZN, KwaZulu-Natal, in a small village called Umsinga, KwaXabanyawo. Since my preschool, primary school, and high school, each and every subject that I learned was taught in my mother language. So, developing my academic literacy became quite not only chasing success, but I'm building a legacy, focused on growth, commitment to excellence, and built for greatness. My name is Gwanele Klimba, a first-year medical student at the University of Pretoria, by University from Pretoria, or University of Pretoria. I greet each and every one of you watching this video, either at home or at school or in the workplace. Today I'm going to be taking you throughout my academic journey, more especially about how it has influenced my academic literacy. Let's go. My academic journey began with quite struggles in preschool where learning resources were painfully limited and often unavailable. Books were rare, learning material were shared, and sometimes there was simply nothing to guide a curious mind. Because of this, my academic literacy developed slowly and unevenly. I often felt lost while faced with reading and writing tasks that others seemed to understand so easily. Still, those early hardships planted resilience within me, teaching me to fight harder for every word I learned. When I entered primary school, the weight of those early struggles followed me like a quiet shadow. While other children read confidently and wrote with ease, I sat in silence, trying to make sense of words that seemed to dance across the page. My academic literacy had been deeply affected, and each lesson felt like climbing a mountain with tired legs. Sometimes I felt embarrassed, sometimes I felt defeated, and sometimes I wondered if I truly belonged in the classroom. Yet deep within me lived a fragile hope. As the saying goes, a river cuts through the rock not because of its power, but because of its persistence. Slowly, through determination and courage, I kept trying, believing that one day the words would finally become my friends. High school became the chapter where struggle slowly transformed into strength. When I arrived there, the gaps in my academic literacy were still visible. Reading complex texts took me longer. Writing essays felt overwhelming, and sometimes the fear of falling behind weighed heavily on my heart. But I refused to let my past define my future. I spent countless evenings buried in books, rereading passages, searching for meanings of unfamiliar words, and practicing my writing again and again. I pushed myself to study harder, determined to close the distance between where I was and where I wanted to be. There were nights filled with frustration, and moments when doubts whispered that I could never catch up. Yet I remembered the powerful truth. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Slowly the efforts began to bear fruit. My reading improved, my writing grew stronger, and my academic literacy started to flourish in ways I once thought impossible. My academic journey proves that where you begin does not define where you end. I continue learning. I believe that each and every struggle is just a step towards what you want to achieve.